Most residency by investment programs now start at $250,000. Some go far higher. But there are still legal routes into real countries, including one route inside the EU that sit well under that ceiling in 2026. 5 of them, here they are. Latvia is the kind of country that gets skipped in these conversations, and that is exactly why it belongs first. It sits inside the European Union and the Schengen zone. That means residency here is not just a document. It can be a gateway to 26 countries without border checks, and a long-term foothold in Europe if requirements are maintained over time. The route worth examining is not a property play. Latvia offers a business and share capital investment route. Investing around 50,000 to 60,000 euros into a Latvian company, or acquiring a qualifying share stake, can support a residency application. At current exchange rates, that lands somewhere in the mid-$60,000 range and above, depending on when the conversion happens. Add legal fees, administrative costs, and ongoing compliance, and the realistic all-in budget sits higher. But for EU Schengen access, the comparison point to $250,000 programs is striking. This is not a passive route. Latvia expects the business to be operational and tax registered, and the investor is expected to demonstrate genuine engagement with the company. There is no shortcut here, and residency is subject to approval and ongoing compliance. That is the trade-off. Latvia is not the easiest option on this list, but it may be the most strategic. Rules can also change, so verifying directly with a licensed Latvian immigration lawyer before committing is non-negotiable. The strategic angle is real though. Schengen access, EU banking access, and proximity to other major European markets make Latvia one of the more underappreciated options on this list. This is not the lifestyle pick, it is the access play. The cheapest route on this list is not necessarily the strongest one. Entry cost matters, but so does lifestyle fit, tax environment, and long-term flexibility. One country later in this list has a business owner route that can sit under $50,000. Another touches $100,000 only through a specific business structure. Keep that in mind as the picture develops. EU access or lower entry cost. That trade-off is real, and only one of these two things is available in Latvia. But if Latvia feels too structured, the next country is far more flexible and far less advertised. Serbia is next, and it works differently from everything else on this list. There is no formal golden visa program here, no official government scheme with a published minimum. What Serbia does have is a legal framework where property ownership and business registration can both support a residency application. Property is the more commonly discussed angle. In Belgrade, realistic entry-level property for a foreigner looking to establish residency support sits around $50,000 to $70,000 depending on the area and property type. Outside the capital, prices drop further. But understand what this is and what it is not. Property ownership alone does not automatically grant residency. It can support the application alongside other documentation. The actual residency permit is a separate process, and requirements are subject to change. What makes Serbia interesting in 2026 is the combination of factors. It is an EU candidate country, which means the political direction is toward closer European alignment, even if full membership is not imminent. The cost of living is dramatically lower than Western Europe. Utilities, food, and healthcare costs make a modest income stretch significantly. Remote workers and location-independent entrepreneurs have been discovering Belgrade for years, and the digital nomad infrastructure is now genuinely functional. The myth worth busting here is that Serbia is somehow informal or risky as a residency location. It has a real legal system, a growing economy, and a strategic position in the Balkans. It is not a workaround. It is just less advertised than programs that spend money on marketing to international investors. Property route or business route. Serbia offers both angles, but neither comes with a government-issued guarantee. That distinction matters. The next country may be the biggest timing gamble on this list. For property-linked residency, outside of the EU entirely, for now. Albania is an EU candidate. Accession is a process that takes time, but the direction of travel is established. Foreigners can generally purchase residential property in Albania. Property ownership can support a residence permit application. And here is the number that catches attention. Sub $100,000 property is not hard to find outside of premium coastal areas like the Albanian Riviera, which has seen significant price appreciation as international interest has grown. This is not a formal investment visa with a published threshold and a guaranteed outcome. It is a property-linked residency route where the property ownership forms part of the supporting documentation. The lifestyle case for Albania is growing. Low cost of living, an Adriatic coastline, a rapidly developing tourism economy, and a government that has been actively courting foreign investment. Tirana, the capital, has transformed physically over the past decade. The strategic consideration is timing. If Albania does eventually complete EU accession, which is a process that unfolds over years and involves meeting detailed requirements, early residents would find themselves in a very different position than they entered. That is speculative, not a promise. But the trajectory is real, and the entry cost, while it remains outside the EU, is meaningfully lower than anything inside it. One sharp reality check: Albania is not a polished, frictionless process. Due diligence on property, legal representation from a qualified local attorney, and patience with administrative timelines are all part of the picture. Go in with clear expectations. If you are doing early research on any of these countries and want connectivity without roaming chaos, Saily eSIM covers over 150 countries with affordable data plans. Link is below. Which one feels most overlooked? Latvia, Serbia, or Albania? Drop that in the comments. Now comes the cheapest route on the entire list. But only if you understand the catch. Colombia does not usually appear in residency by investment conversations without a property number attached, and the property investor route in Colombia is too expensive for this list. The threshold sits well above $100,000. But that is not the route being discussed here. Colombia has a business owner and investor visa category that is tied to Colombian minimum wages rather than a fixed dollar amount. The qualifying threshold for certain business owner routes is based on 100 Colombian monthly minimum wages. In 2026, that calculation places the requirement somewhere under $50,000 in USD terms, depending on the current exchange rate. This makes it the most affordable route on this entire list, at least in terms of the stated minimum investment threshold. The critical distinction is that this is an active business route. Colombia is not offering a passive investment ticket. The business needs to be real, operating, and generating economic activity. There are employment and operational requirements attached. This is not a structure where an investor parks capital and receives a visa in return. It is a route for someone building or acquiring a legitimate Colombian business. Colombia's appeal beyond the investment figure is significant. Medellin has become one of the most recognized remote worker hubs in the world. Bogotá offers urban infrastructure at a fraction of European or North American costs. The country's time zone alignment with the United States makes it particularly practical for anyone working with American clients or companies. If the under $50,000 business route interests you and you want to scout Medellin or Bogotá properly, Kiwi Flights is worth checking for flexible routing into Colombian cities. Link is in the description. Tax treatment deserves a mention. Colombia's tax system has nuances for residents versus non-residents, and the rules around foreign income taxation have evolved. This is another area where professional advice before committing is essential, not optional. The myth to address here is the assumption that Latin American residency programs are informal or easily gamed. Colombia's immigration authority has tightened its processes. Documentation standards are serious. Incomplete applications or misrepresented business structures create problems. Go in properly or do not go in. And the final country sits right on the edge of the 100K line, which makes timing everything. Brazil. The standard business investor route in Brazil is often cited around $500,000. At current exchange rates, that figure can sit near or just under $100,000, depending on the Brazilian real's position against the dollar. Currency movement matters here, and the calculation that works today may not work in 6 months. That volatility is part of the risk profile. There are also lower threshold pathways for projects in approved innovation sectors or priority areas. These routes can support residency at lower investment amounts, but they involve more scrutiny, require sector alignment, and are not available for generic business formation. The specifics of what qualifies change, and the approval process involves government review that is not fast. What Brazil is not? A real estate residency option at under $100,000. Brazilian property prices in cities worth living in, São Paulo, Rio de Janeiro, Florianopolis, are not in the range that supports a sub-$100,000 property-linked residency argument. That framing gets applied in some corners of the internet, and it does not hold up to scrutiny. What Brazil is? A continental-scale country with one of the most dynamic economies in Latin America, a Portuguese-speaking gateway to a language that opens markets across 3 continents, and a lifestyle range that goes from dense urban energy to coastal ease to Amazonian remoteness. The quality of life case for Brazil has always been strong. The investment case for residency is tighter than it looks from a distance and requires precision in both structure and timing. For a scouting trip to compare any of these locations before committing, whether it is a few days in Tirana, a week in Medellin, or a longer look at São Paulo, Expedia has competitive rates on hotels and short-term accommodations in all 5 countries. Link is below. For deeper coverage on residency routes, including legal costs, timelines, and red flags, that is what Horizon Insider is built for. Join using the link below. Before the summary, the honest framing on this entire category of decisions. Every route on this list is real. None of them is a guarantee. Residency by investment programs change. Governments update thresholds, shift requirements, open new routes, and close old ones. Working with a qualified licensed immigration attorney in the specific country of interest is not a suggestion. It is the baseline requirement for making any of these work properly. 5 countries, 5 different structures. Latvia with its EU and Schengen access through a business investment route in the mid-$60,000 range and above. Serbia with its flexible, low cost of living property and business owner options, around $50,000 to $70,000 without a formal golden visa structure. Albania with property-linked residency, available well under $100,000 and an EU candidacy trajectory. Colombia with a business owner route that can sit under $50,000 for an active operational company. And Brazil, at the edge of the $100,000 ceiling, through a business investor structure that depends on exchange rates and sector alignment. The question is not which one is cheapest. The question is which one matches the actual life someone wants to build. The tax position they need, the travel access that matters, the business environment that fits, and the cultural context they can genuinely commit to. Drop a comment. Which of these 5 gets the most credit it does not currently receive? And which one did you expect to see on a list like this, but did not?